Hello, sir. How are you?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, of course. How are you holding
Brilliant.
up?
Yeah, fine, fine. It's kind of, this is a really odd time because I'm
Really?
yeah,
You're
well, because it's
cooking.
6 o'clock. Yeah, because it's kind of, my wife will be, well, from upstairs.
I
She's
see.
upstairs, so she'll be coming down
I see.
to eat soon. But I'm on headphones,
That's okay.
so if you're, I'm listening and can chirp
All right.
in. Fine, all right.
All right. All right. Okay. Take your time.
I'll just
Yeah.
Keiko, say hello.
Nice. Very good. Hey, man. How are you, Mr. Emmanuel? Are you okay? You're muted.
Yes, how are you?
Good. Good. It's still alive.
All right. So
How
today
about
you're
you?
going, sorry, I'm good. You're going to talk to one of my students. She's going to talk to you.
Sure.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
No bad.
Not bad. Good. Are you learning English or something? Obviously.
Don't understand. Repeat.
Mm-hmm. I said, are you studying English?
Je comprends même pas ce qu'il dit.
Do you know English?
I speak English little bit.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what do you study?
The verb. The verbs, the grammar,
Mm-hmm.
the pronunciation.
All right,
Yes.
I got you. I got you. Okay, maybe, I mean, today's meeting is not okay for you. It is not suitable for you. You should join the other ones, okay?
Or just listen. Just
Or
listen.
just
It's always
listen, of
it's
course.
always
Yeah, yeah,
good exercise. Just listening, even if you can't take part.
of course. So where is Emmanuel?
Hey, I'm here.
You're here. Yeah,
Yes,
actually she's not really suitable for this one. I mean,
Okay, I got it.
her level is
Oh, I
not
got it.
okay. Yeah.
Okay, probably I have another one that you can talk to. I really want them to participate in this. I
Mhm.
probably have another one that you can talk to.
All right.
Hey, Emmanuel, get them to listen. Get them all to listen. A great exercise getting them to listen.
Sorry, man. Sorry about that.
Hey, Emmanuel, you're looking great. You're looking gorgeous.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Good. Hey man, how are you?
Yes, I'm fine. You?
So far, so good. Thanks for asking. So are you learning English or something?
Yes, I'm a student. I
Student.
begin the class this week.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Fantastic. What is your level?
The level 1, level 2.
Level 2.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, of course, basically, this is for advanced level students, actually, people, language users. Maybe you might have some hard time understanding or communicating, but as Mr. Ken said, it is good for you to just listen and just practice your listening. All right. Maybe you can join the other levels below C1, C2 level. All right, but that is okay. You can just sit there and maybe listen. And let's say hello to Ms. Venera. How are you doing? Can you hear me?
Hello, I'm good. And you?
Just good. Yeah, me too. Thanks for asking.
I was wondering when are you planning, and if you're planning to keep conducting lessons next year. So since when?
Good question. Actually,
Have you got anything lined up?
Not yet. Not yet. Next week will be very busy. That's why I just bring it here and bring it for, I mean, today. But for New Year, I need to just redesign the form of these meetings, maybe. But I definitely need to just sit down and think about it. But of course, we will continue, hopefully. Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Good, good. So for today, do you have where is my, hold on a second.
List of questions?
No. Yeah, the prompt, actually. Let me just find it over there. So as you can tell, yeah, international sporting events are costly and bring problems to the hosting country. To what extent do you agree or disagree? International sporting events are so costly and bring problems to the hosting country. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Of course, as usual, we need to just chop it into different parts, and then we can talk about it first, and then at the end of the conversation, at the end of the meeting, we can maybe sum it up. Normally, Mr. Ken starts, but let's say...
No, I'm around, I'm free at the moment, so I'm quite happy to chirp in to start with and go for this one. Yeah, very interesting question.
Very interesting question.
Yeah, you've got to look at the pros and the cons. So what do sporting events bring to countries, international sporting events? And how much does it cost them? So if you look at the Olympics, obviously the greatest sporting event or event in the world, it has a history of costing countries quite dearly financially. The cost of the infrastructure, the cost of staging. Obviously, we look at Japan and the problems because of COVID that Japan has had as a result of hosting the Olympics this year. I mean, personally, I think the environmental costs are horrendous in terms of constantly rebuilding new stadiums for every event every 4 years. It seems much more logical to build a set of stadia, probably in Greece, because it is the home of the Olympics, and using that as a constant place to stage and hold the Olympics, and for all countries involved to help to pay for the infrastructure and to pay for the running. That way, we are not constantly building new stadia. We built a stadium in London for 2012, and most of those buildings have been removed. They have been bulldozed. It just seems quite illogical. They don't seem to have been used to promote sports events here in London, or certainly not here in the UK. So I'm going to go with the negative initially. I think the building of these stadia and then the destruction of the stadia shortly afterwards is a poor use of facilities and a poor ambassador to the sports, to international sports events. I think I'm going to leave that there and let people chirp in and see what their opinions are on that one.
Of course, thank you very much. Of course, very lovely comment as usual. Of course, we are going to just keep going. What about Ms. Venera? Maybe you can just say a few sentences, make a few sentences about that. Yes, please.
Oh, I'm actually not well versed.
Mhm.
I'm not well versed in this topic. That's why today I'm going to be a listener.
That's okay. But maybe you can just form your own opinion on this one. Do you support it? Do you support, yeah, I mean, universal international sporting events, or you say that they are just useless?
I don't even have a smattering of these events of sport.
Mhm.
Sport events are not useless, but I don't just understand international sporting events are costly and bring profit to the hosting country. I just I don't understand the notion of it.
What?
So
Yeah, I mean, what type of probable problems these events can bring to the country? Let's look at
international
the question from that
sporting
angle.
event.
Yeah.
Oh.
May I ask, what kind of effect would it have upon your own country and your own economy if
Mhm.
you had to stage something like the Olympics? What would you see as the benefits and the problems of holding these kinds of events within your own country? How would that affect you and the economy of your country? Would that be another question to ask potentially?
That is totally okay. Actually, we are trying to talk about this prompt. And yeah, wherever it goes, we just try to, I mean, stick with it. No problem. Yeah.
Well, how countries prepare for these events, for international sporting events or any international events. So they invest a lot of money into those events. Yes, but speaking of me, it doesn't concern me because I have nothing to do with that. I don't go to those events. I don't take part in it, and then so it doesn't bother my paycheck either
Mhm.
because I don't spend money on those events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But,
you're,
but it would in your country
yeah.
because you as a taxpayer, if it came to your country, it has to be financed. It has to be financed, and invariably it is financed by government. So it does affect your paycheck because the government will be using your taxes
Yeah.
to finance a large international sports event with probably very little hope of recouping.
Well, it doesn't affect your taxes if you're a freelancer, right?
Yes, it does. Well, when you
Oh,
buy a car, you are paying taxes. When you buy food, you are paying taxes. When you buy a TV, you're paying taxes. You are
yeah,
paying
but
taxes.
even without those international sporting events, you would pay taxes.
How do you finance the building of a stadium?
Mhm.
Well, as I said, I paid taxes when buying food, for example, and uh, even without those sporting events, they would charge taxes. And when they charge taxes for the food, I don't care what they allocate those finances
Okay.
for. I mean, with or without sporting events, they're going to. Um, I'm going to be bound to pay taxes when buying at least food, right? So for sporting events, it is or not. So um, I don't care. To tell the truth.
Yeah, I mean, from the just, how can I say, we should not only look at this fact from the entertainment perspective, because Olympic Games, any kind of World Cup, anything, all of these things, they have one common goal, I think. I mean, they are designed for business.
Yeah,
Somehow.
and when we pay taxes, for example, when I pay taxes for food or when I'm purchasing some item of clothing, there are some taxes included. For example, I'm not responsible for choosing what these taxes will be allocated for, right? So I
Mhm.
can't affect it. I can't influence it. That's why, well, I can't decide it, so why should I care what these taxes are for? And I can't decide if I pay taxes for the food or, yeah, or for anything else, or I don't pay taxes. So if I can't affect it, why should I be concerned or bothered about that?
Mhm. What about
There
Mr.
are
Ken?
many things to think about it.
It's an interesting attitude that
Yeah.
you can't affect your taxes. I mean, there's an expression in English: there are two certainties of life in life, death and taxes. Yes, we pay taxes on everything, but to finance these large sporting events, to some extent, yes, large companies will get involved to help finance, but they in themselves are unable to finance the entire event. Therefore, governments have to step in, and when they step in, they will invariably raise taxes to pay for the infrastructure, and those taxes will have a knock-on effect in terms of our take-home pay. You say they don't affect you, but because they are hidden in all of the things that you buy. So they're hidden in food, clothing, television, cars, houses, and a whole national insurance or insurance which you pay to your government for healthcare or for schools, education. So all of these taxes go up as a consequence. What you take home at the end of every week or the end of every month is reduced, and it is reduced because the taxes you are paying are going to pay for something you don't particularly want, you don't particularly need. You could look at that. You could look at it that way. You could say, "Well, I'm not interested in sport. Why should you pay for a sports event?" I mean, I'm looking at, I'm again playing devil's advocate here by potentially looking at the pros and the negatives. They don't represent me. I'm just arguing that you will always pay taxes. You will be paying taxes for something you don't want. I'm not a sports person, and we are still paying for the London Olympics in our taxes. So I think um, somewhere along the line, there is always a detrimental side to large sporting events.
Apart from that, maybe we can say that, I mean, all of these events can improve the tourism. I mean, it is somehow related to tourism, and tourists may come. Of course, they will. And so they can buy, they can stay. So mostly countries try to use this in order to explain and let's say describe their touristic areas as well as the natural places whatsoever. So that I think, however you look at this very fact, I would say I see positivity. Positivity outweighs the negativity, actually, I would say, in my opinion.
Ooh, okay. In terms of your country's image around the world,
Yeah.
yes, because you are portraying your country in a very, very good light. I think I'm not absolutely certain of this, but there have actually only been a few Olympic Games which have broken even.
Yeah.
Very, very few do. So as a consequence, the population of the country holding the games, hosting the games, should I say, invariably has to pay. Yes, the positivity is sporting events are fantastic in terms of promoting healthy lifestyles. They're fantastic for promoting the image of a country and gaining some kind of traction with reference to tourism, the tourism industry. Yeah, I mean, absolutely, positives and negatives on both sides.
Of course, we cannot just deny that. Whatever we do, there should be kind of, not there should be, but there is a kind of negativity. But I said, in my opinion, I mean, the positive sides of it is far more than the negative side of it, I think. Yeah. What about you, Ms. Venera? Do you agree or disagree? Still disagree?
About what?
About this. I mean, don't you think that these events can at least bring hope to the people, or they just useless or not, or unnecessary thing for the country?
Oh, well, how to say? Anyways, those events, they are on TV, so maybe it promotes sport.
Yeah.
Well, people are getting more into sport, so it's like countries raising more sportsmen. So it's a positive sign, positive effect of those events.
Have you
That's all
ever
I can say.
Yeah.
What about tourism? Do you think it promotes tourism within those countries outside of the visitors to the sports event itself? Do you think it brings in tourists to those countries because of the television coverage of the sports event and potentially the coverage of the culture of the country the sports event is being held in?
Well, obviously, yes. So it's international sport. It always takes place in different places in different countries, and so people just so many people don't want to miss the opportunity to see these events with their own eyes.
Yeah.
And that is why, yes, of course, they travel.
It is a source of fun for
yeah,
most
we
of
can
the
say
people.
that can boost the popularity of sport.
Yeah. Have you ever experienced such events personally?
Tourism. No, I haven't. As I said, I'm not interested in it. At all is the key word, the key phrase.
I got you. What about you, Mr. Ken? Most probably you have.
I'm with our lovely lady. I've got no interest in sport.
Really?
Yeah, not whatsoever.
As long as I remember, you said that I am and I was a cameraman, so I thought maybe you had a chance to just cover it.
Yes, I've covered sporting events. I've been around sporting events, but when the Olympics came to London, I had no desire whatsoever to be a spectator at those events. I understand people being very into sport, into football, rugby, athletics, whatever. For me, and this is not me being the devil's advocate. You could not pay me. You could not pay me to go to a sports event. Well, you could, but it would be with a camera. I wouldn't switch TV on to watch a sports event. So I very much come from the same land as our lovely lady here. No interest in sport. I do totally understand the reasons behind sporting events. I understand both the financial reasoning, both in terms of financing and what a event or country will recoup as a result of holding large international sports events, be it the Olympics or something like the Five Nations or the Six Nations in rugby or the World Cup or major athletic sporting events.
Yeah.
I totally see what it's about, but yeah, unless you paid me to work there, I would have no interest. With no interest whatsoever. I wouldn't even switch. I got asked once if I'd watched the World Cup.
Yeah.
I hadn't even watched one frame.
Really?
Yeah, no interest whatsoever. I would. There's an expression in English. I would rather watch paint dry. I would rather watch paint dry. So, yeah, I myself and the other young lady are we're singing from the same hymn page. We are singing from the same hymn
We're on the
page.
same
Okay.
wavelength, yeah. So
Mhm.
actually, to
absolutely.
people who are not into sport, these are two people actually joined the conference about sport. Interesting, huh?
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah, the issue, the thing with these chats is not about whether you are interested. It's about
Yeah.
you utilizing your understanding, your level of English
True.
to argue a point, whether you agree or disagree. It's not
Absolutely.
about you expanding upon your idea.
Yeah.
It's, I sometimes say, look, agree to disagree, literally just argue for the sake of arguing, create an argument regardless, because it's a great way of challenging your level of English, of using your level of English. So, but yes, I mean, for me and for yourself, no interest in sport. I'm going to go back to cooking. I am listening.
All right. Keep it up.
And not your cup of tea, right?
Yeah, most probably. So,
But I'm interested in individuals. Well, when watching documentaries about individual sportsmen,
like,
to see their path, how painstaking, laborious,
like
it
biographies, maybe.
was. Biographies, yeah, sport related. So how difficult it was, what circumstances they were in, how difficult it was to go through the rough patches they had during becoming a professional sportsman.
Yeah, I got you.
Well, because it's strong. Yeah, it's strong. This I love to see the strengths in people, and I want it to be showed and revealed. So, and that makes me admire. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. As far as I know, I mean, Russia is known for the. I mean, Russian sportsmen and women are. How can I put it into words? Like the 800-pound gorillas in the realm of Olympic Games. They can bring a lot of gold medals, especially golds for Russia.
But politically, everybody is against Russia, and even in these circumstances, Russia manages to show a magnificent performance.
Yeah,
At least
really
on
magnificent.
sports arena.
In Olympic
Political, I
Games.
think, as well.
Yeah. So it tries to say that, I mean, at least Russians have a huge interest in sports, let alone only, I mean, the football itself, but I mean, sports in total, in general, actually. So are you alone, or, I mean, mostly people are not interested in the sports? I mean, I'm talking about Russian people.
Oh, again, it depends on people, right? Yeah, sport is popular. Among men, obviously. I noticed that in Great Britain or in European countries, even women and girls are into sport. I always look at them and think, oh, come on, you're faking. How is it possible that a woman likes watching men running from one side to the other side, running after the football? And they seem to be so excited about that, just brimming with excitement. And I'm thinking, is that genuine or are you faking it? So, because in Russia, it's really hard to find girls, women who are into sport.
Really?
That's an interesting.
Really interesting, yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because I would say still, when I've been to sporting events here in the UK, I'd say it's 75-25 with women. Football, it's much higher than that. The ratio of men to women is much higher, say probably well into the 90s. Possibly, I think, because of the atmosphere you get at football. That's not the same when you go to rugby, and absolutely not when you go to athletics or something like athletics. But yeah, there's a very valid point there in terms of who watches sport, who are the biggest consumers of sporting events.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, I'd say regardless, I'd say it's probably predominantly more men than it is women.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
sounds like it's probably more, the numbers are slightly different in Europe, the US than it is in Russia. But yeah, definitely it's designed or geared towards a male dominated audience, I think.
Yeah, true. But I have to just add something else. I mean, I think in 2021 or obviously 2022, I mean, people have lots of things to do. I mean, lots of activities, lots of, how can I say, a lot of things to do. I mean, sports maybe are not that much enticing for people to follow. You just want to watch something, okay, log on to the Netflix and watch millions and millions of shows. YouTube itself, Spotify there. I mean, games, this book, everything. So I think there is a little bit of, space for sports. I mean, sports are not actually enticing enough for us. Not anymore. Not that much.
Yeah,
Ooh,
maybe
no,
just because of have the internet and those digital devices, people got
Exactly.
used to sedentary lifestyle.
Mhm.
Oh, they're just lazy bones now, more lazy bones. That's why they even if they're interested in sport, they prefer to watch sport on TV than to participate in it.
True.
well, yeah, I mean, the one thing I always say about sporting events, the last thing I did was horse racing. So obviously not it was a filmed event.
Yeah,
It's a sport, yes, it's horse racing.
of course.
And the one thing I always say is when you watch it on TV, you've got 35 cameras to choose from.
Sure.
When you are there, you
Mm,
have one angle, your eyes. Now, um, I've always seen the advantage of watching sports event on TV simply
TV.
because you have all of these cameras. You have instant replay. You
True.
have pundits. You have experts, ex-footballers, rugby players, ex-athletes looking and analyzing the sportsmen and women who are playing or whatever. I think television is a fantastic medium for actually really being able to watch a sport in depth. The
Yeah.
event itself is when you're at the event, it's camaraderie.
Mhm.
You're with thousands of people who are interested in the same thing. Let's go football or rugby, a game played by groups of people. It's almost tribal. We were talking about tribal last week. It's almost
Yeah.
clan-like in that you have one set of supporters and another set of supporters, and it is the camaraderie of one set of your own supporters, of
Mhm.
you being around like-minded people who are following, who are wanting your team to win. And the actual event is something you go to be with your friends. I think if you're at athletics, it may be different. I think it is very different. Something like athletics is a different situation. But again, the sporting event is much better observed via television. I use television in a very loose way because obviously we're consuming sports events on things
yeah,
like
but again,
YouTube.
you mentioned horse riding, right, or something like along those
Yeah,
lines.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not interested in sport, but I find it unacceptable
Oh my
to
God.
uh
To abuse horses.
to abuse horses, to abuse animals, because well they have to do the best and to win those games, even though they can be heavily injured.
Mm.
And but the most important here is that you placed a bet for victory, so the horse is not important here, so you don't take it into the horse's health, horse's well, mood. Yes, it's actually a living creature. You don't
Yeah.
take the horse into consideration at all. You take it. It's like a car. It's like an object.
Yeah.
you treat it like an object. So I hate everything and everybody who actually abuse animals and have something to do with this abuse.
You
Well,
opened
no,
a huge door now.
yeah, no, like, hey, that's the way discussions should be. Discussions should move. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, but again, we come back to money. This is all about money. This is all about
Exactly.
gambling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about well, in terms of horse racing, obviously, it's about gambling.
True.
It's about placing money on a horse so that the horse will win, and then you gain money. So you're using the horse as a betting medium. Obviously, when we're looking at athletes, yes, gambling organizations do bet and gamble on, who's going to win the 100 meters hurdles.
True.
So yes, I mean, total agreement. The use of animals to provide entertainment in that sense, I can't. I have a problem. I mean, like I said, I was filming, I was working, I was underimpressed. I'm like, well, I don't get this. I don't get this because I'm not part of this group. I don't see the enjoyment. Coming back to what I was saying,
if a person takes part in it in those sports, it's fine because people decide themselves where to participate. Animal can't participate; they're just forced to do it. They have no will.
Yes, yeah. But that you could say that equally of things like circuses. Animals have been banned in circuses in the UK for years now. I think the only animals which are potentially allowed are dogs. I think that's the only animal you might see in a circus, but anything other than that, you will not see.
No dogs, no cats. I mean, they have their life, short life, not to participate, to entertain people, not to work for them.
Yeah. But I think they might be the only animals. I'd have to do a check on that. But animals generally in circuses are no longer permitted. I think in huge parts of Europe as well. So, but you could take this even further. Zoos.
Yeah.
If you look at animals, I mean, we've have digressed immensely from international sports events. But hey, that's the point of these chats. It's
of course. Authentic.
Yeah, absolutely. To evolve. So
exactly.
Where and how do we end, or do we take a conversation?
We have almost 2 minutes left now.
Oh wow!
Yeah, but again, I disagree when people choose money over anything else.
True.
I mean, at least over animals.
Yeah. It has been like that actually. Not something new.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I think this conversation started quite slowly, but it has actually built so well at the end. It's been very entertaining and enlightening to some extent. So fantastic. Yeah, brilliant chat at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Thanks to you guys. Of course.
Not a problem. Absolute pleasure. Like many other people, the next week or so, I'm going to be out of action because we have Christmas. So it's going to be
we would have the speaking club on Christmas.
No. 2 weeks later. Not next week.
No, that's a bit too late.
2 weeks later, yeah.
It's going to be it's going to be the new year then.
Exactly. Hopefully.
Brilliant. Well, for those who celebrate Christmas, have a fantastic Christmas. For those who don't, have a fantastic time.
Yeah, likewise, man. Likewise. Thank you very much.
Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas. Happy New Year. Take care of yourselves.
Oh, Happy New Year as well.
Have a good time.
Thank you so much.
See you. Bye-bye.
Okay, see you next year. Bye-bye.
Hopefully.